안녕하세요. Hi everyone, this is Ariel, one half of Soju for Two, and this is a really fun, quick video about a new drama that I started watching that I'm in love with at the moment. It's called Jang, Live in Love, and this has Kim Tae-hee and Yoo-ah-in, and Kim Tae-hee plays a famous royal concubine, Yoo-ah-in plays a famous king, and there's also Queen In-hun's character in this story, and this is a historical drama based on historical, real historical events, but obviously it's a little different than the way the history books wrote them. So it's an interesting story, and I'm in love with this story, and I've actually had a lot of discussions with my coworkers. So I'll tell you about that in a second. But so this story, love triangle, obviously it's there because you have sort of the politics and craziness of, I guess, a royal prince picking his queen, and obviously she doesn't become a queen, so she's going to become a concubine, so that story's interesting. Misunderstandings, I'm sure there'll be a lot. I think it's going to be, again with historical, it's not always about like the type of misunderstandings you have in contemporary dramas where it's like, oh, he slept with her or this happened. It's the kind of things where it's like class, politics, all of those things will play a role in this. Bad guy turned good. I don't think there's a bad guy in this. I think it's more or less like it's going to be other than the ministers. The ministers are always the problems, but you'll have sort of interesting problems, I think, amongst the women sort of figuring out their roles in the king's life. Fashion. So this show is amazing. It's about fashion. She was a fashion designer. So the idea of looking at women's clothing is really cool, and more like beautiful, less pragmatic, less utilitarian sort of style that we always usually see in historicals, unless there's gisangs. Usually gisangs have pretty amazing fashion, and that's about it. Kiss. So we have a few kisses, but the kisses were younger time. And so we don't have any contemporary kisses yet, but I'm pretty sure it's coming soon. Music. This one has some pretty music, but it's nothing that's really memorable to me at the moment. Piggyback ride, I don't think yet. So I'm going to tell you about what I've been talking about my coworkers about this. And this is something that really fascinates me, like history and the way history is written. And I tend to find stories like in Asia, especially, or places that have royal concubines as a part of the king's society of the court, that's like completely condoned and not really hushed. Here, it's interesting to me that like stories like this are so popular. A lot of times she's been told as sort of a negative character in history books, but here, showing her as someone that is clearly the heroine, the admirable character. It's interesting, and it's a little bit different, and I think my co-teacher was talking about the fact that, the history books were written by the queen's family. They weren't written by the concubine's family, so I think that's a very interesting point, and so it's cool to see this, but we do wish sometimes that we saw, we could know everything about these romantic stories, but I think it makes sense that, the romance would not be the queen, because the queen is like alliance marriage, so that is definitely very logical that the other women that would be around him would be the ones he might have actually loved. So it's interesting to me. And the same goes for the queen, I'm sure. I think that'd be an interesting story to tell, the story of like a queen's love outside the king, because she wasn't allowed to have suitors. But yeah, so this is, I think, a really cool story. I'm enjoying it. I like talking to my coworkers about it. And it's really, Kim Tae-hee looks great in this, and I'm happy to see her. And I'm happy to see Yoo-ah-in in a drama that isn't Fashion King, because I really disliked Fashion King. So in this, I think he's doing a great job so far, and I'm really happy with it. So that's it for dramas this week. Check out my other videos, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.